Well guys, welcome back to the channel. And as you guys see in the background, we're not in South Carolina, we're in Arizona. Video number, not sure if it's 1, 2, or 3, but Arizona Adventure Week with... Hey, Wesley. How are we doing?
Oh, fantastic this morning.
So, we're currently at TPC Scottsdale, home of the Waste Management Open, and we got a special one for you today. We're gonna be giving you an inside look at a little PGA Tour practice session / lesson from his coach, Boyd Summerhays, who is an absolute legend. We're gonna introduce him here in a little bit, but Wesley, we're about to get after it. We're about to get that swing dialed, see
yeah, we'll see what we're working with. Kind of have it coming out of both barrels right now, so hopefully Boyd will get us dialed in, and we'll leave here a productive trip to Arizona.
What are your kind of goals for today? What are you looking to get out of the lesson here with Boyd?
Oh, my goals for today. You know, my goal every single day is the same. Just get a little bit better. So we're out here. Now, working this type of day in particular is an opportunity to get a whole lot better, hopefully. So, yeah, I just kind of want to tighten up the dispersion a little bit. I've been struggling a little bit hitting the golf ball as of late. So, yeah, I would like to get a more consistent start line. And that's about it from a ball striking. I want the ball to start where I'm looking, and then the curve, we can figure that out later.
He is here, folks. World renowned instructor, Boyd Summerhays, people. And before we get this video going even further, let's stop the tape, let's pause it, let's roll the accolades right here. Boyd Summerhays and Wesley, they've been working together for a little bit, but what are your, I asked Wesley what his goals for today are, but what are your kind of goals, plans for Wesley? Like, what do you want to see from this little session?
So, I started working with you at Harbortown, right?
Yep.
And then you got hurt a couple months later, so we haven't seen each other. We saw each other briefly. You came out
right
after your wrist was kind of just healing up, so all we could do was like an hour a day. Came out for 3 days, and then you went and played in Japan. So it's more just kind of getting familiar with what's going on with the ball flight, and obviously Wesley can chip putt and hit the irons and work a little bit on the tee balls probably, but just more get familiar with what he's been going through since Japan and go from there.
Hopefully his plan is to do whatever I want to do, right?
I mean, that's what I was going to say, just work on whatever you want to do.
The player is the prima donna, the most important, needs to be coddled and pampered.
Trust me, I know
And
that.
Wesley, you're above all else. He needs it more than most people.
Oh, he needs all the pampering, right? Just on the shorter clubs, the more lofted clubs, at times he feels like he's got to put the ball too far back to flight it, but then that makes it really hard to aim, makes the angle of attack change a ton. So we're just working on him being able to keep his normal ball position, and then just a little bit using the face-on image for him of just, getting to where he doesn't feel like his left hip is as high at impact, which is just tipping his upper body back a little bit. So it makes it really hard to flight his more lofted clubs without going way back in the stance. And, the less he has to change his ball position, the better to be able to flight it. Most people jack it way back, but that just creates way more problems. And he'll never fix the actual technical issue if he keeps the ball way back.
Love it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, exactly. You have so much loft on the wedges that you can do it. You can't get ahead of it like with your upper body on a long iron, so you ain't gonna get up off the ground unless it's like a stinger, right? So to me, hit me one where you put the ball up a hair more than normal, okay? And just flight it, smaller divot, flight one just from ball up, okay? Hit like 5 shots, try and flight it.
Touch flighted.
Okay, so to me, when I look at someone face on that looks like a little hung back, I could also be like, it looks slid, but I think of like the left hip is high, okay, or left shoulder is high. But if you look at like your setup, if I'm trying to change anything in setup, you actually look really good there for what I would like. It's not like you're sitting here with a lot of right side, and the left hip's way towards the target, which would actually make for you even more hang back, right? So to me, it's almost like the feeling is your hips are really pretty darn level there, okay? I want you to make a swing where coming down, you feel like the left hip stays a little bit more low as it opens up, okay? And I'm gonna make you feel that, okay? You see it in the upper body, like the upper body looks like it's hung back.
Yeah.
But it's the hips that's making the upper body step back. And so it looks like you slide and you hang back, but go to the top. So it's set up. You already, if I looked, okay, so go back to setup. It's not like you're already like in this position, right? High left shoulder, high left hip. It's really neutral almost to what we want to do. So go to the top, and it would be, instead of you going a little bit like that, it's going to feel like you're opening, but the left hip just stays down a little bit more. And I'm not touching your upper body, but you could tell that's not going to lean back.
Right,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go barely slower, maybe 70% power, full motion though. There you go. And from down the line, I guarantee it's going to look a little bit more vertical going back. Can you feel that a little bit? Has to.
It looked like.
Yeah, without even looking, it's going to.
That's an interesting tip, guys. Who said they want to have all the swing done, so on the downswing you're really just reacting and not thinking. Boyd's got some great, like you talked about, not like the order in which, like, you told Wesley, like you didn't just say, hey, do this, like you were like, hey, we're doing checkpoints, and if that field didn't work, we'll go with this.
Yeah,
like,
I made him feel like the down, like at impact, he's a little, like I said, a little left hip high, left shoulder high. Looks like he has a little bit too much hang back for a lower iron. At setup, he looked great. He wasn't in a position where I'm not a big fan of pushing the left hip forward, because it automatically puts you into too much right side bend at setup, which is basically what impact is. He's a little bit left hip forward, a little bit too much right side bend. So I kind of went from behind, and he's worked on it already, but he kind of almost feels like his hips are, the right hip's already higher, right? That's what it feels like. And then I'm trying to make him feel like the right shoulder's getting a little higher. That's making the right hip get a little higher.
Yeah.
Get this angle more like this.
And then from there, then he can just swing, and the left hip is already lower, left shoulder's already lower, because where it is at the top of the swing. Because when I was moving his hip, we filmed it, it looked better, but it didn't look good enough for either one of us. So it's like, okay, we're not going to change much in setup. Let's get in a little bit of more left hip or left shoulder down at the top of the backswing, or right shoulder high. Each player will feel a little bit differently. Usually, I just go in the order of what I think makes the most sense, or what has helped other people. Right shoulder high, it's putting the left shoulder down, and it is making the hips tilt a little bit more too.
Yeah.
So then you can kind of just swing from there, right?
And I'll say the biggest thing that we've talked about is what is something that we can play with. What's something that we can take to the golf course, because there's no off season. There's no time for total reconstruction.
You guys always need to be playing good the next week.
Exactly. So if feelings don't work, like I don't feel like I can hit a shot confidently on the golf course with that feeling, it goes out the door. And he's good at finding another one.
And Wesley was saying that, is like, a lot of people, you know, feel things differently. Tiger always talks about he feels everything in his hands, right? I'm more hands and upper body too. Like, that's what's connected to the club. But
there's a lot
he's
of guys
going
out
to
there.
change his lower. Yeah, some guys
That
are
are
all
more
lower
on the
body.
pressure
Yep, they
mats
want
and
the
the-
feet and the lower body, but we can make his left hip look better at impact, or his lower body better from having his upper body be in a different position. So,
which is huge. I mean, that's like something that's very overlooked, and people might not think
when
about
people
that,
when
but
people
makes-
say take the hands out of the golf swing and don't feel any upper body, it's like, I don't go for that.
I mean, right,
You're touching the
I'm
club
pretty
with
sure-
your hands.
I'm pretty sure it's
you got to
the
have
hands that are
hands,
doing
and you got to
that.
have upper body. So
I love that. Such a good little nugget.
one thing, George, is if I'm looking for where he's going back, halfway back and coming down into the ball, then I'm going to go hand high. he wants to see where it's pointing at the top, I'm gonna bring the camera angle up higher because that's what we're looking at. Okay.
That's very.
A lot of people kind of go if they're looking at everything, like it's kind of middle of the body, but I'll go as low as hand high and just as high as the backswing where he's at, just so he can see the
But
true.
I will say hand height, it makes it look the best. The prettiest.
It makes your halfbacks, like the halfback, look better. But at the top, if you go really low, it always looks a lot more laid off and vertical than it really is. Okay. So I kind of moved from where kind of a general middle of the body to kind of higher, and it would give a different look. Because even the ones I showed him earlier, it was looking more laid off to you, when in reality it's the camera too. At the start, when we first started working at RB, the Heritage, he was getting a little bit like flat or shallow with the shaft. It was parallel to the ground almost. It was pretty close.
We also were doing this right here.
And then to react, to offset the shaft being so flat going back, then he got really steep with the shaft coming down. So it helped him at the beginning to kind of just feel like the club, he didn't rotate the left forearm much, okay, kept the club outside the hands. But the one thing we had to monitor quite a bit was that it didn't get too cupped in the left wrist to where the face got open, because that's going to kill him. It could look better with the shaft, but then if the face is open, we've gone backwards. So this feeling of his right shoulder going a little higher is keeping the club a little outside his hands or making the shaft a little bit more vertical, but it's not doing anything to his left wrist because he's not trying to really keep the club outside the hands because of the cupped left wrist. That was great at the top.
Yeah.
You try to explain it simply, and it's like, hey, you're just a touch right side bend, hips a little high, a little out of it, and that's about, you get it in a different position at the top where he's theoretically the opposite of what his tendency is at impact, and it's like that's starting to make sense to him. A way higher right shoulder at the top of his backswing, more left shoulder down. And at impact, how much lower did your left hip and shoulder stay coming down?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah, he didn't feel it.
Yeah.
I don't feel anything in the lower body.
Well, guys, that's basically a wrap. Wesley's gonna hit a few drivers. Boyd and him were talking, and he was like, you know what, you're driving it well. So we're gonna let these iron changes kind of bleed into your driver swings. We're not gonna kind of work with the driver. We're just gonna, you keep doing your same thing, keep doing what's comfortable, Wesley, with your driver, and let the work you do on the iron swings kind of bleed over to the driver, which is very big because most people think, okay, we work on the irons, we gotta do the same thing with the driver. No, it's not the case. Like, it's a different, you hit it differently, and so you gotta treat it differently. But this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing what a lesson looks like with literally one of the best teachers on the planet, working with Wesley, to see it's not anything crazy. It's just a lot of fun, honestly, just sitting here behind the camera, watching, hearing him talk. I know I got better. So hopefully, guys, you learned a little bit. You enjoyed a little behind the scenes look at Wesley. He will be coming back to the PGA Tour here in a couple months. Hopefully Sony. I think that's what he's planned. He might have leaked that. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Wesley, what a pleasure. Thanks for letting me come out here and hang out and just shadow you guys. But honestly, whatever but Boyd, thank you for letting me film.
That was fun.
Thanks for just kind of talking us through Wesley's golf swing. It helped me. I know it's gonna help some of these guys out of here, so appreciate it.
Oh, you got it.
It's some high level information that you guys are getting on that free service that YouTube is offering. So
hey,
keep that in mind.
Let's go. We'll see. Hey, match is coming, so get ready.
Maybe.
Get ready.
I haven't committed anything yet.
Good luck at your match,
Thanks.
But for real, what a treat to bring you guys to TPC Scottsdale to see one of the best instructors in the world, like I've said. It's been a lot of fun. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and guys, stay tuned. A lot of fun stuff coming here the rest of this year and into next. You're not going to miss it. See y'all.